Ami is saying we really argue over how frequent we should communicate. Yes, this is also another thing. People ask that how many times am I supposed to communicate with my partner? This is what I want to say. There is no standard quantitative. There is no standard quantity for communication in a relationship. There is only standard for quality in a relationship. I'll tell you why. There are people who talk from morning to evening on phone, but they don't agree. They talk, but they fight in every conversation. Every 10 minutes, they make a call to each other, but they end up arguing and, you know, fighting, but they communicate every time. So they have calls every time, but they don't understand each other. There's no effective communication. And there are this couple who chat or call each other only twice in a day, but they have a very effective communication. They ask each other what happened throughout the day. They ask each other what are their plans for the day. They speak about love. They speak about their future. They speak about their plans, and that conversation ends. Then they go, on with their day-to-day duties until again late in the evening when they will call each other and ask each other how their day was. What are you having for dinner? I'm planning for this. So, what are your plans for tomorrow? And the love continues. They just have calls twice a day. And then there's this couple who have got 20 calls a day, but they cannot get to each other. So, communication, my sisters and brothers, is not about how many times, it's not about the frequency, it's about the consistency and quality of that conversation. What are you talking about? What are you people discussing? Like, I'll tell you something. You're having a conversation and calls every single day and only talking about your private parts. And you're thinking that my man loves me because he's calling me every single time. You think that your woman loves you because she calls you every now and then. But what are you talking about? You're talking about how good your private parts are, how big he is, how tight she is. The whole of this conversation, you're talking about your body structure. You're talking about how he looks. It doesn't make this is nonsense for communication, for relationship. Relationship is not just about your body. It is not about just what you are enjoying in bed. A good relationship that has got a future has to have some conversations that has got future plans. It doesn't matter how it will end. My clients that I coach, my goal with relationship is always, what are you learning and earning and growing with in this relationship? It is not about, is he going to marry you? Is she going to marry you? No, it's not about that unless you are married. But as I've always maintained in these conversations, that if you're still dating, the goal is to make this person get to marry you or get married to you. But what is most important is not about how you're going to get to the future. It's about, what am I learning here? How am I growing being part of this person at the moment? So it is mostly how you are growing. This is how I always say it. If I'm dating you today, whenever I'm in relationship, when I was dating, when I was in relationship, my question was always like, if today I break up with Mary, what will I have in myself that I will remain with that Mary cannot take? That I will say, I am this because of Mary. What is it that you are learning that Mary cannot take away from you? My sweetheart sisters, it is not so much important that John bought you a car. It is not as much important as John buying you a car while you are still dating. The most important part that John can do in your life is to make you understand how you can work and buy your own car. Because when John breaks up with you, John cannot take that idea from you. He cannot take away that skill from you. But if John is only buying you a car and you're still dating, remember, anytime you break up with John, he can take away the car that he bought for you. So, relationship is not how many times you are talking, it is how much conversation you are having and how important are your conversations. So, you could be talking the whole day, but you are talking something else, nonsense, something that doesn't make sense. You understand? So, it is very, very, very important to understand something. Relationships are tough, but you need to be tougher than them. So, what are you earning out of it? What are you getting out of that relationship? Is very important. It doesn't matter how many times. So, forget about how many times you're going to communicate. Think about what we are going to communicate. Think about what I'm going to learn from this person. Think about what is this person putting in my life that he cannot take away. My sister, I know how much you guys are always, after birthday gifts. I know how much you're always after those long calls. I know how much you're always after those, new hairstyle. I know how much you want your rent to be paid. The question is, if I'm paying your rent, if I take you out of that small bed sitter and I improve your life by taking you to a 3 bedroomed house, and we are still dating, we don't know about our future, we're just talking about now, and we laugh, we meet over the weekend for good times, we spend together, we jiggle around, I take you to a good restaurant and you have food there, then have you ever asked yourself that now that I'm in 3 bedroomed house from my bed sitter, if something happens and I break up with this guy, will I be in a position to pay my rent in this 3 bedroom flat or apartment? What I'm saying is the most important part of a relationship is what you are talking about. It is not how many times you're talking about it. It is not how many calls you're receiving in a day. And let me tell you something. Don't ever think that a man who wakes up every morning and sends you good morning loves you. Don't ever think that a woman who wakes up every morning and the first thing she sends you good morning cares about you. Those are things that we are taught. You know, we are in a generation where people have marking scheme about relationship. People have piece of papers like this, and they have written the order of what they will do with you throughout the day. They know that when they wake up in the morning, they need to send you a good night. They good morning. When they are going to sleep, they need to send you a good night. Are they sending it to you because they purposed it, or are they sending it to you because it is the norm? Atieno is asking how long should dating period take? It doesn't matter. I don't know. It depends on you by yourself. There is no period for dating because, by the way, as I've said before a long time ago here, dating has nowhere in life of a human being. But the thing is, we use it as advantage to know the people we want to get married to. The most important part of your life is that marriage.